Hi folks, welcome to the Volleyball blog. I'm here today with David Lawrence from Fitness Renaissance, who I've been working with over the last 5 or 6 months, I guess. He's been putting together my fitness program and looking at me, screening me, and giving all sorts of stuff to help improve me as a beach volleyball player. I wanted to ask David a few things about what he's noticed about beach volleyball players in general from talking to my coach and seeing me and trouble areas and how to help. So David, what are the areas that you've identified in me as being particularly trouble areas for beach volleyball players?
So I think what's been really interesting about working with you, Sam, and in conjunction with your coach, Louis, is learning about the role of blocking and spiking, and from a movement perspective, the ranges that are integral to executing those two critical positions. So from the blocking perspective, we explored, are you getting down low enough? Are you able to sink beneath the eye line of your attacker as they go up to spike the ball? And then are you able to drive effectively out of that deep position? So things like ankle range, knee range, hip range, and flexibility of your spine all come into the depth. And then power, so looking at all the way up from the lower chain, from the ankle upwards, do you have and are you generating enough power through each of those positions and from the relevant muscle groups? And then if we look at one particular aspect on the spike, I think shoulder range has been a particularly interesting one for you and for beach volleyball players in general. So the more angles you can generate from the shoulder, the greater variety of attacks you're able to deploy. So understanding where you've got those ranges, how strong and stable you are in those ranges will be critically important for longevity. So strong and stable longevity, and variety is what's going to make you dangerous as a beach volleyball player, because generating those subtle angle changes will help you evade the opponent who's trying to block you.
Yep. Okay, David, can you show us one of the key stretches that you've given me to help release and gently mobilize the hips and other areas?
So the one we're in now is called the Shim Box. This is useful for gently opening up knee and potentially ankle if you've got your foot flexed, but it's particularly appropriate for your hips and maybe your back. So you want to gently allow your buttocks to come towards the floor. So if my right leg is in front, my right glute, my right buttock is generally going to be on the floor. My left glute is a little bit off the ground, and I don't want to force that position. It may be the case, like you're doing at the moment, Sam, that you're making it comfortable for yourself by just placing a hand on the ground. We want to think about softening into these positions. 1, to avoid injury, and 2, because when you're in the heat of the moment on the beach volleyball court, you don't, or you won't probably be able to force yourself into uncomfortable positions. You're just going to move in a natural way for you. So it's important when we're in these positions, especially if we're in them for time, that we're just softening into these holds. We talked about using this as a time for iPad, journaling, on your phone, because it's a useful way just to sit on the ground and build mobility, flexibility into other activities.
Great. And the second one we did earlier, you all right to demonstrate it?
Yep.
So if I put myself here, so we showed it earlier, so I can do it as a solo stretch against the wall, but David's going to do it holding the leg there.
Cool. So this is a variation on a kneeling hip flexor stretch or kneeling hip stretch. So Sam should be feeling this at the front of his left leg, maybe up through the thigh, front of his leg, or perhaps in the hip. The more I push upon his shin, the deeper the stretch he will feel. He's also got options where he could get taller through his abdominals up towards the ceiling, or he could potentially lean back a little bit into it, or he can even push his hips further forward. So he's got options here for opening up this stretch for himself without me having to change the knee angle. In terms of intensity, you're looking for about a 7 or 8 out of 10. 10 being something that Sam would tell me to stop pretty much immediately. 0, he can't feel it. He shouldn't be getting any symptoms in his back or in his glute. This is really for the front of his body. Cool.
Perfect. Thank you, David. So this is, so once again, David is based in Crystal Palace, and he is a personal trainer and runs Fitness Renaissance. So if you'd like to have a session with David, you can get in touch with him via the website, Fitness Renaissance, or you can just direct message me, and I'll all the contact details will be on the bottom of the blog as well. So I can't recommend him enough, so do head over there.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks.
Cheers.